Good morning, everyone, and happy 2014. We will be getting started with our session on technical assistance this morning. I'm going to turn the floor over to Natasha Tugger, who is sharing her screen right now. And if you can see it, everything is good, and we will be moving forward. The session is being recorded. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and Natasha.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to have a couple demos before we get into our question and answer session. But please do, if you have questions, feel free to go ahead and type them into the chat. Dee can grab those and make sure that we answer those questions. But we're going to start out, first of all, with taking a look at the customer view, because the customers can access their training plans. So you have your customers that can, complete their application, and so they would go to the ilworknetmanufacturing.com page, and they have the place where they can return to their application. So as you know, we have people that have completed their application, and some will make it through the entire ATIM eligibility process, and they will either be in the controlled or the treatment group or in the veteran group. If they are in the treatment or the veteran group, then they are provided with a personalized training and employment plan. And so that is something that we'll take a look at in just a moment, because I know that was some of the questions that you had indicated, or the topic that you like to talk about is the personalized training and employment plan. So, but with the training and employment plan, you also have a customer view. So to access that, they still go to the ilworknetmanufacturing.com, and the area where it says return to your ATIM application, they would click on this link. I'm not going to go into the actual production side because of personal information, but I'm going to show you what it would look like on our edit server. So your customer just clicks the link to return to their ATIM application, and once they'll be prompted to enter in their username and their password, and whenever they enter in their username and password, then they will be able to automatically see, they'll have the links at the top. I logged in a while back, so hopefully it doesn't make me re-log in. They'll be able to see their application, their profile, so this is the information that they entered. They'll be able to see their profile, and then they'll also be able to see their plan. Now the plan is the information that you have entered into the ATIM tools. So just as you have your preview of the plan, they have the same type of preview. You'll notice it's a little bit different because they will not see the comment section that where you can add, where you and the other team members can add comments into their personalized training and employment plan. Now, we want to make sure that you let all of your customers know that they can access their plan, currently by going to the ilworknetmanufacturing.com, click on Return to the Application. They'll be able to see their plan, and they'll also be notified when there are updates to their plan. So what that means is they'll be notified whenever there are red flags, for example, when timelines aren't being met or when they are off track. Okay. One of the things that we're working on that will release, scheduled to be released this week, is to add this section where they will be able to see the work-based learning and jobs section to their training plan. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris, because it is not currently out on the edit site yet, but it is on Chris's computer. So we'll go ahead and turn it over to Chris so he can show you what that looks like.
Okay, and just to jump into it, I am logged in as a workforce professional, so I get to see the full training plan and make edits to it, but this is the preview screen. This is the same preview that will be on the customer side too, so we'll just start here. Down below you'll see WBL job placements, start and end date just like the rest of the sections, an on-track and off-track section. And what's listed below are jobs that have been bookmarked for this person. And we have just the basic information of title, city, what type of employment is, and an hourly wage if there is an hourly wage. If we click on it, it will expand the job slash placement, excuse me, and it'll give all the information with the job requirements and job competencies, as well as this is test data obviously, but a job description, how to apply, etc. There's also an icon to print the section, so we can give them a nice print view of it. We can also print the whole plan up here, and that will include all the jobs from down below. Natasha, do you want me to take them to the actual section where we bookmark the jobs here?
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks.
Okay, so we're on the training plan, and we've got another button here, just like the other sections. And work-based learning, this is where we can add our start date and the end date, indicate if they're on track or off track. There's two different toggles here, and let me fix something real quick. Okay, so when you first come into the screen, there will be the WBL Jobs search. This is where we can refine and determine what kind of jobs we're looking for. And this is all based on the target occupation. Right now, this customer has selected machining CNC, and that's back on the expanded bridge where that is set. So if you come to this section and you don't see anything here, make sure that in expanded bridge under career development, and we'll just go back and look at that, that you have a target occupation selected. Now they did on the career plan, there is a section where they can indicate what they're interested in, but the expanded bridge career development needs to be saved before it will show jobs on the WBL job placement section. And then we can refine what type employment type it is, job shadow, work experience, internship, on the job training, or even permanent employment. Excuse me, that's working with live code here, so it will filter that out. And then if we do find a job we want to indicate for this person, we can click the bookmark, and that will bookmark the job for that person.
Okay, thank you. So as Chris mentioned, still, finishing up the details on this, and then we'll be testing this and making sure everything's working just the way it's supposed to, and then that will be pushed out to production. So keep your eyes open, and, just to make you aware that we do expect to send that out very soon. So that'll be available for you. Okay, thank you, Chris. Now, just as a reminder, let me go back to, right now I'm logged in as the customer, but I want to do is.
Natasha, we have a question. What does bookmark the job mean?
For bookmarking, were you going to answer that, Chris, or did? Okay.
And then
yeah,
the job is no longer available.
I'll go in that into a little detail. So I think on previous webinars, and I've usually not on these, but you guys have discussed the employer section where employers/LEAs can post the jobs. This is where we're allowing the customer/workforce professionals to see those jobs that are available for that target occupation. And what we want to do is there will be job postings out there, but we want to tie that job back to the customer, or an internship or a permanent employment, and we want to indicate that this person is going to attempt this internship or is going to go apply for the permanent employment, or maybe it's an agreement between the workforce professional and the employer that, hey, this is the perfect candidate for this position. So we just want to make that association with the job and the customer, so we're calling it bookmarking the job.
And then, Chris, do you want to try to answer the second question, is what happens if the job is no longer available?
There is a date range. When you post a job, you can go from and to, and for right now, and we're going to do some testing and looking at it, but for right now, when they post it, it's available from those dates, and if you bookmark it, it will keep track of that job as long as someone doesn't go and delete the position. But yeah, even after the date range, it should be associated to that person. So, but if it's after the date range, like if they say, I only want to post it until 1/6/2014, then it wouldn't show up today.
And then so while Chris was covering that information, I just wanted to point to those showing, doing a screen share on our edit server where, again, we mentioned that those jobs that are showing up or will show up in the training plan are coming from the ATIM system. So in order for them to appear in the training plan, they must be entered into the WBL Jobs section. So you can see for the example that I have on the screen, if you don't see your employer, then you can add an employer, and you will see the employers across the region. So you can select the employer's name to find more information. You can enter job forecasts, and then you can also enter the job postings. The job postings are the ones, the jobs that will appear in the plan. So you can update existing postings, or you can add the job posting. So select your region, and as Chris mentioned, how long you want the job to be posted for, the employer, the specific work site, the occupation title, or category, the SOC code for the occupational title. Is it an internship or a work experience? So for those start and end dates, if you know that the person's going to be, going through, an internship, or they have specific dates for a job shadowing or so forth, then they can enter that information. And then you'll be able to show it to everyone that's in that target occupation. And this is where you indicate, how you want to display the information, to who you want to display the information to through the personalized training and employment plan. So again, this is where you indicate, or where you indicate how to display it through the personalized training and employment plan. Okay. Let's see. Are there any other questions that had popped up while I was talking about that, Dee?
Not right now, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So one of the things that you had indicated those that answered the original polling question had indicated that they would like to talk about are the personalized training and employment plans. So currently I am logged into my Workforce Partner account, and I'm just going to go to the dashboard because this is where you'll be defaulted whenever you come to your account. And I can take a look at my customers because I want to take a look at the customers that are enrolled. Only those that are enrolled are able to have a personalized training and employment plan. And the personalized training and employment plan is available to customers who are either in the treatment group or they are a veteran. So I'm going to go to customers. I can click on enrolled. You can see I have a listing of my customers here. You can see the first name, last name. I can see which LWIA they are within the central region. And I can see the teams that these people are on. If I am an LWIA person, a staff person, then I can see all of the teams for my region. If I am an employer or a post-secondary or adult ed partner, then I will only be able to see my team members that are associated with the teams that I am on. You'll be able to see their profile and their training plan. Now, if they have a team, then they'll have their plan available to them when I click on plan. If they don't have a team, that means that they need to be added to a team before they'll be able to view that plan. So I'm going to click on plan so that you can see this. So you can see that you cannot see any part of their training plan. And I'm going to select one of my teams. And I'm going to set them to the team. Once they are set to a team, then you can access the training and employment plan. Now the teams are set up. Different regions have different approaches for setting up the teams, and that's fine. In some cases, you may be setting up your team. In other cases, you have a person that is setting up the team for your region or for your LWIA. And we can take a look at that in just a few moments. But let's take a look at the training plan. So you have an overview, a preview of the plan. What you'll see at the top is we have a plan start and end date. And you'll notice that you can't enter that information. That is automatically generated by the dates that you put into the plan. There are a couple ways of navigating the training and employment plan. You can use the buttons along the top, or in the preview, you can select from the links of the headings. We're going to go ahead and select career plan. The career plan information comes from the application, and you can modify that information as needed and select update to update that section of the plan. You'll notice that there isn't a start and end date for this section. The next section is the expanded bridge section. And within the expanded bridge section, you'll notice that we use the wording as step 1, step 2, step 3. With the personalized training and employment plan, it's not going to keep you from doing things in any of these sections in a different order. However, I do want to point out that the wording here is very deliberate, and that we do want you to complete these in this order. Step 1, career development and exploration. So you put your start and end dates, identify when those steps are complete, and enter the target information or target occupation. As Chris mentioned, this is important because it impacts a variety of things, but specifically the work-based learning and job posting section. So once they have completed this section and identify the target occupation, then again, you can go ahead and go on to step 2, enter your start and end dates, and enter each component. One of the components for this section, the personalized training and employment plan covers a lot of information already. So we're not saying that you have to re-enter the information that the plan has already collected. It's not about duplicating an effort. It's about identifying the components that are not covered already in the plan. So if you have, yes?
We have a question. Is the plan end date the end of a class or the entire program?
The plan end date will be the greatest date that you have in your plan. So whenever you've completed your first section for expanded bridge, for the start and end date, and so forth, whatever your latest date. So whenever I save my information, it'll save only, if I only enter information in expanded bridge, it's only going to save my start and end date for my expanded bridge. But as I continue adding and going into technical training, which, maybe my end of the technical training will end in 6 months from now, it will update the plan to identify the greatest date. So it'll be the overall plan date. It'll take the greatest date from your overall for each of these sections to create the end date.
So you don't enter that date. The program enters that date.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And if you have a question, we have the little information bubbles. You can just click on the information bubble, and it says that the overall plan date is automatically generated with the greatest date entered in the training and employment plan. So it doesn't matter which section. This is the overall for the overall plan.
Okay. It was a question from the chat, so I just wanted to clarify that.
No, that's great. Thank you. Okay. So for the step 2 with your components, one of the components that you might want to add is maybe they'll need to update their resume. So, and we will be adding an optimal resume that will be made available to Resume Builder that will be available to them. So that's something that, you could just simply enter in, the start and end date, or you can even do the same date for that fact, because really what you're doing here is you're just identifying the components that they need to have in addition to this training plan. And so it can be the same start and end date. And you can continue to update these components as needed. So I'm going to write complete resume and hit update. Okay, so your step 1, we'll go ahead and put in the same date. Maybe they've already completed all this information. We've already gone through and looked at the different jobs, conducted a skills gap analysis, and selected the target occupation as CNC. I'm going to click Update Step 1. And you'll notice that it specifically says Update Step 1. So that's all on this page, that's all that it's updating is Step 1 for that section. When I clicked and selected Update Step 2, it's specifically updating Step 2. Now for Step 3, we're going to say they're going to complete their MSSC training this week, the week of the 20th, and their plan date is maybe the 24th. And I can say Update Step 3. Now all 3 sections of the expanded bridge have been updated. I could have done them in any order. As I said, recommend Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. Now, the reason why this is important is because these start and end dates are used to update IWDS. So once the start and end dates for Step 1 and Step 2 have been entered, then IWDS will be updated with 2 services, the Career Development and Exploration and Create a Personalized Training and Transition Services Plan. So the reason why that's important is because both of those steps must be completed before you can enroll the customer in any other services within IWDS. Okay. And then each of these sections also includes an area information as to identify whether the service has been complete or not. So in most cases, the local workforce investment area staff, the case manager, is going to be the person that's just going to sign off to say that that service is complete. And if you are that person that has been identified to sign off to say it is complete, it will tell you. You'll see that this particular instance, I am not required to sign off. I can click on the sign off link to see who is required to sign off. Okay. And then I'm going to go to optional training. And optional training is truly that. It's optional. You might have some of your...
Excuse me, Natasha.
Mm-hmm.
It shows it now, but Sarah asked, as you updated Step 1 and 2, I did not see the plan start and end date update. Is this because you are in a test environment, or should it update, or does it wait until you move to the next section?
It waits till you move to the next section.
Okay.
So you can see that it's up there. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then for the optional training, you may have a person that needs to, take a few courses to maybe bump up their math skills or just a refresher, so you can indicate that in the optional training. You may have an employer that requires that the person, completes their NCRC. We have a section for that. You may have an employer that requires additional MSSC certification and training, or you might have a person that, they have a gap between the training that's available. So to keep them engaged, you could have them complete some of these other MSSC certifications as well. So as those are, as the person wants to complete them, or as the if the employer has required them, you can enter those into the optional training section, and especially if the employer has required it, you can identify when a section is required. One thing that's a little bit different than under the expanded bridge, when you click update, it updates everything for that entire page. Okay. One of the things that I didn't mention when I talked about expanded bridge, I didn't show you that we have a comment section. You can add a comment section or comments. Each of your team members can add a comment. So let me add something. Let's see. I'm not sure what kind of comment you'd like to add, but once you add that comment, then the other team members will be able to see that comment. Okay, just refresh this page here. They also have, and you can see my comment here. Okay, and you can see I'm logged in as a training account 26. You can see that it was the WPP train, and when I added that comment. Now these comments will be used and to populate IWDS, so your other team members can add comments, and it will send that information to IWDS. You as a case manager can enter information, and it will record it in IWDS. It doesn't work the other way around. So if you add comments in IWDS, it doesn't populate the training plan, so you don't have to worry about that. So if you have training plan specific comments, add them in the training plan. If you have other comments that aren't related to the training plan, you can just simply enter them into the person's IWDS account, and you don't have to worry about it being displayed within the training plan. One of the things also that Jim had mentioned is that whenever the comments are transferred over into IWDS, it doesn't carry the information as far as who created the comment, just to keep that in mind. So, but you will be able to see them in IWDS. Your partners will be.
Natasha, is it advisable that they put like a little caret and their initials or something after the comment so that everybody knows?
Yes, they can do that. Yep, they can do that. Okay. Another thing, since we're talking about partners and what they will have the ability to do, your partners will be able to indicate if a person is on track or off track, and they will be able to indicate when a service is complete. Okay. So if you have an adult education partner that is on your team and they've been working with Colby, then they would know, they can just indicate maybe Colby hasn't been showing up for class, or something happened, or maybe they're trending to, something that would indicate that they're not going to meet their planned end date. They can indicate when the person is off track, and then that will send a notice to, working on the notification piece of this, but it will show up in the dashboard. And then when the notification piece is available, it'll send the information to let everybody know that, this is just a red flag that there might be something going on with Colby, and we just need to take care of it before it becomes a problem. Okay. And then we have our technical training section. The technical training section, you can, again, add your start and end date. So maybe I have a person that's starting this week, and their training is going to go through September, and they have a variety of different courses. I'm in CNC, so we'll just do this one. And I'm going to say it's a course, and I can enter the planned training date and update the plan. If I have, in some cases, we've had some other creative suggestions or actual real life instances where they had a gap in between their training programs, and so they created, I can't remember if it's specifically, but it was like a blueprint class. And so to keep their participants engaged, they had created this class, not for credit, but I could enter that information if I have a specific title, and I could just select what I did. I just selected other, and then it gave me the option to type in the text and then the date, and then it's added to the plan. If you make a mistake, you can just simply remove it, not a big deal, and you can re-enter that information in there. And again, this has a service sign-off as well. For each of these sections, we have the comment section, and to see all the comments in one area, you can click on the comment button, and you'll be able to see the comments that were entered for each of these sections. And then we will, as Chris showed, you will have the work-based learning and the job posting piece that will be added up in these tabs as well. Okay, so that was an overview of the personalized training and employment plan. And I opened a polling question in the lower left. And I just want to know, do you have other questions for this topic, or you ready for the next one? Okay. Just one person indicated that they're ready. Okay. Several others. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just jump over to my dashboards, because one of the things I didn't cover for this topic was the dashboard. You do have a training plan dashboard. So you can take a look at an overview of where people are within the training within their training plans. We have a couple things here. We have two separate items. You have your green item, the service dates on target. So whenever I enter my plan start and end date, then I have today, and then maybe my end date is tomorrow. If I have an end date and the end date passes and no one has marked that service is complete, then it'll show up in the red section. It's not saying that, wish I had a highlighter here for this column. It's not saying that that there is a problem. It just is a red flag that, oh, somebody needs to take a look at this and say, yes, this person really did complete this section, and I just simply need to click on it and mark that the service is complete. So it's just, again, it's a red flag to take a look at it to see if there is a problem. If there's not a problem, you just simply click on service complete, and it switches over to green, and you're good. And then we have this is generated automatically. Okay, it's going to do a check. It's going to do a check to make sure that service complete has been indicated for all of those, and making sure that the planned end date is met. The service on track and service off track, that's completely controlled by you and your other team members. You indicate, or your team members indicate, if somebody is off track. It's going to automatically default that they're on track, and it will take either you or your partner, other team members, to indicate if it's off track. So that's another red flag and then you'll be able to see your service complete. So you can click on any of these, and you'll be able to see your listing of people that meet that criteria, and then you can click on their plan and take a look at that person. Okay. Okay. So I covered the information that was indicated that for the enrolled customers personalized training and employment plan. Are there other sections that you would specifically like me to cover that I haven't already covered? Or if you have any questions, this section.
While we're waiting for that, for them to take a look at those opportunities, how about if we let Mike say something about addressing the WIA applicants, or the applicants to the program?
Okay, thanks, Dee. Natasha, can we go to the statewide dashboard, please?
Do you want to go to the production side or the,
Yeah.
Okay, let me go. Second.
I didn't mean to throw you a curveball.
No, I usually just don't keep it up because I'm always scared I'm going to get in there and show real people information. Just one second, please.
Okay, thank you. So, first of all, I hope this screen is not something that someone is seeing for the first time on this call. I certainly wouldn't expect that. But everyone needs to be checking this intake dashboard at least once a day. And for particular folks out there, probably multiple times a day as folks are coming through the system. But I just want to call in on my laptop. I cannot read the numbers, but I need you all to, if you haven't checked your dashboard yet today, go to your dashboard for your region and just check to see how many people are awaiting WIA eligibility, and then how many that are through WIA eligibility are waiting for ATIM eligibility. And overall statewide, the number of people awaiting on WIA eligibility has been way too high. So if you scroll up on this, what we're looking at is the folks that either haven't taken TABE or have taken TABE but have not yet passed through WIA eligibility. Now, this is something that any case manager that knows WIA could be handling this part. So if you've got a big backlog in your regions, you want to make sure that if everyone knows this is an all-hands-on-deck situation, and we need help from the regular WIA case managers if they're not already on board to help get through that WIA eligibility piece. That way the ATIM case managers are only dealing with the folks that are going to be specific to ATIM and working with the ATIM eligibility. So again, everyone, please make sure you check this dashboard at least once a day to see where your region is at and find out, where the bottlenecks are at, and then apply resources as appropriate so we can get through this backlog. Because again, we need to keep recruiting folks to come into the program, because if you look overall, the number of applications that have been filed, about 10% of those are making it into the treatment group. We have about 130 or so into the treatment group. If we go down, we can see that. About, does it say 124?
124. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Plus 11 more veterans in. So, we got 135 folks in, and the overall number of applications that have come in are, about 1,400, something like that, maybe 1,200 in that range. So, we need to keep recruiting, but what we're doing is we're throwing more logs on the fire and creating a bigger bottleneck or a bigger backlog because we're not working through that initial ATIM or WIA eligibility. So we need to hit that as hard as we can, as quickly as we can, so that as we continue to do recruitment and outreach, the new folks are coming in don't end up with a long wait as well. You know, we want to get that smoothed out so when an application gets filed, it gets taken care of within a handful of days. So just again, be checking that dashboard, and if anyone needs help with anything, let us know. Thanks.
And one other point, since we're on this page, you'll see that we're all the withdrawn sections for people that have already been withdrawn. This week, we're going to send out the email notice to all those people, you know, to let them know that, you know, we appreciate their interest in ATIM. You know, our system indicates that they have been withdrawn. You know, if they think that this is done in error, then they can contact us, and, you know, we can take a look at that and get them back into the mix. But from, you know, from that point on, going forward with the next release, whenever a person has been marked as withdrawing from the program, then they will get an email. An email will automatically go out to that customer to let them know that they have been withdrawn from the program. And again, they can contact us if they think that has been done in error, as well as whenever they are marked as an undue withdrawal, they'll also receive an email, an automatic email to, you know, let them know that they are currently back in the ATIM eligibility process.
We have a question from the chat that says, can you send a copy of the letter that you will be mailing out to withdrawn customers?
Yes, we can do that. Okay. Any other questions?
Oh, I'm sorry, this is Mike. Hey, Ann, what's your source of concern on the confusion of using the term withdraw, and do you have a less confusing term in mind? And do we have the text of that ready to go? Could we just put it up in the window today, right now?
Let me look in, or let me look in.
If we don't, that's fine, but I thought we could just take care of it right now if you had some draft language ready.
Yeah, I just have to find it.
I created a chat pod for you, Natasha, if you want to throw it in there, and then we can put it on the screen.
Well, before we jump into other particular terms, I'm curious to know what the thinking is that withdraw might be confusing. Okay, thank you, Ann. I'm reading your reply now.
What I have so far. That's what I just grabbed from my email. It might have been like a more up-to-date. And
Yeah, no, nothing has been sent yet.
no, nothing's been sent yet. Or withdrawn.
Karen does raise an interesting point. I mean, this should go to folks that, you know, we lost contact with, or we need to tweak the language to account for the folks that were withdrawn because they were not eligible.
Does this cover all of it? We tried to put all the bullet points for several reasons why your status may have changed.
They may not have been eligible or suitable. Does it cover that?
We don't say
the
suitable, we
last,
just say, yeah, eligibility requirements are not met, were not met.
Or they may not have followed through. And one of the WIAs is saying that it looks like it covers all of those issues.
mm-hmm.
So that's if they, when they withdraw. And again, you know, I just grabbed this from my email, so we probably have if you see any typos, if it has been approved, this is just my initial draft.
So if anyone has any heartburn with this draft language, let us know now. Otherwise, we're going to proceed with using this. And if anyone does have heartburn right now, we're happy to work through it. But I don't want this to be held up anymore.
Go back
Can we
up
put a
to
poll
the
question?
withdrawn. Yep, I can do a poll question.
That might be easier. And And for those of you who are joining our weekly webinars for the first time or haven't been on in a while, this is the kind of thing that is important for us from Springfield to have everybody on, because these issues come up and allows us to work through them and get everyone's input. And very often folks from the field have a really good idea that covers an angle that didn't occur to us. And we can take care of things kind of on the fly here and keep things moving rather than being log jammed while we try to contact everybody and figure out, is this an issue that's only in one region or statewide, and what are our options for taking care of an issue that comes up. So I'm actually glad this came up, because it very much highlights the value that we see in doing these webinars and giving you all a chance to ask questions and give us your ideas. So just want to make sure everyone captured that idea.
Okay, I have it in the lower left so you can still see the text.
Yeah, and you're right, they didn't enroll in anything, but they did apply. So what we're saying is their application has been withdrawn. It's just like going to college. I mean, you may not have ever been accepted, but you can still withdraw an application or have an application withdrawn.
The point about if they failed something and been withdrawn, should that be addressed differently in the letter? Like if they didn't pass TABE?
Well, it just says that's just their eligibility requirements aren't met. You have to be past TABE in order to be eligible.
Yeah, I don't think we want to get specific in this particular email as to why a person may not have made it. I mean, these are the 4 big reasons why somebody would not continue on or would have their application withdrawn. I can't think of any instance that would not fall into one of these 4 big buckets. And the whole idea here is just to make sure that someone didn't get withdrawn inadvertently. And if the LWIA wasn't able to contact them, this email may not even get to them anyway. But the idea is just that it's a last-ditch effort to make sure that somebody wasn't withdrawn that is still interested in the program. And this will give them the opportunity to call in or email in and say, hey, what's going on? So
when they take their TABE test, when they take their TABE test, they find out right away that they didn't pass their TABE test, so that they would know that they would not be eligible for the program.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, again, that is specific to that one point on the bucket. The first three dot points, someone could still be interested in participating and complete their paperwork or come back into the office and get things rolling. The only one that they would not be able to continue on is that last one with eligibility. And as Dee pointed out, most of those folks, if they went through the process of taking the TABE or the WIA eligibility review, they're going to be informed specifically that, hey, you didn't make the cut because of this, or you're not eligible. So those folks should know anyway.
Right. And one of the things, too, if you're using your dashboard, because I think we don't necessarily have to withdraw somebody because they don't pass the TABE. If you're using your dashboard, I'm going to briefly go over here. If they haven't passed these areas, you'll see that they're showing up in the red section, which that means that they do not get to go down to this next level, okay? So you don't have to withdraw them because they're kind of already filtered out through the process. So you have your people that have completed the TABE. They've completed, either they're eligible or they're not eligible. And so if you've already indicated that they're eligible, then fabulous. Then they go down to this next section. So it automatically filters out those people. So if the person's not eligible or if they don't pass the TABE, you don't need to withdraw them. The system already indicates that and kind of puts them off. They're in your overall customer list. But if you're using your dashboard to say, okay, I only want to see the people that are eligible because I need to do ATIM eligibility, I'm going to go to my dashboard and I'm going to click on my not set because that's automatically going to filter out the people that I need to work with. I don't need to deal with everybody else because right now I'm only dealing with ATIM eligibility. I only want to see those people. So just kind of keep that in mind because you don't need to withdraw them from the list if you're using your dashboard. It's automatically been pulled out. And so this letter only goes to people who are withdrawn. I don't know if that helps or not.
That makes a whole lot more sense to me.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay, so that's the text for withdrawing, and this is the one that says this is kind of like the undo withdraw.
Yeah.
So if that text is okay, indicate that on the polling question as well.
A couple of folks have raised the question that grading can take a little while, and they may not know immediately if they passed or not. Yeah, that's absolutely true. The point is you're going to let those folks know individually what happened to them. So this email, if they got it, it would not be a surprise to them. They're already going to know that they didn't meet WIA eligibility. And actually, as Natasha was saying, they're going to, if they didn't pass it, the system is going to withdraw them automatically anyway. So they're not going to. They shouldn't get anything out of the blue that would be a surprise to them.
Jim Potts put a note up here that said that in previous discussions, typically the withdrawn people were ones who case managers could not reach or were not interested once they were contacted. So this letter is going to someone just to verify that.
Right.
And then, Connie, what are the minimum grade levels for reading and math to be eligible? That's 6th grade. But keeping in mind that the employers really want higher than that.
Right. And let me expound on that a little bit, Connie. 6 is the absolute floor that you would look at for someone to be considered eligible. And that allows for somebody that might have a very high reading level but a low math level, or vice versa. An individual that has a high reading or math score very likely could benefit from short-term bridge programming to get their skills in the other category up to snuff pretty quickly. But if somebody is below 6th grade in either of those or in both, they won't be able to get up to speed quickly enough for ATIM to help them. So you really need to be looking at 7th, 8th grade as kind of the floor for somebody in both levels. But we did leave it at 6th grade just because somebody might have that very high reading level but a low math and could benefit from bridge programming. Is that clear?
If I'm not mistaken, all of the grade level information is in the FAQ, so that all we need to do is refer people to that section of the FAQ on the ATIM page. And Natasha would be happy to show them where that is before we leave this webinar.
Yeah, Connie, you're right. I mean, 9th and 10th grade is where they need to be when they are done with their training, because that is what the employers expect. So that's where they need to be. So you have to look at the individual and say, okay, in the course of the time available we have in ATIM, if somebody tests out in TABE under those levels, how far under are they? And do we have a program in place that can get them up to speed quickly enough? And then they could also take skill training and be finished with that in time for the ATIM, before the ATIM initiative is over, which for training purposes would be like June of 15. Okay, so the 6th grade is just considered an absolute floor that if somebody doesn't test at that level, you don't even look at them because they're too far under the threshold. But if you got somebody above that, then you've got to take a hard look at them and see, okay, where's this person at and how far are they from 9th math and 10th reading, and work with them on a case-by-case basis to see what we might be able to do for them. But when in doubt, err on the side of inclusion. If you've got somebody on the borderline with very high reading but maybe a low 7th grade math, there's probably something we can do for them. I hope that's clear.
Let's go back to another question. Natasha, the letters that you had up, who is supposed to be the main target of that letter?
A person that has been, if you click on the withdraw button for a person, that's who's going to get it.
Okay.
So let me go to, I'm on edit. I have a customer. Oh, here, but edit server here. So I can select any of these people. If I'm in the intake process, I can, whenever I click this button, mark customer as withdrawn, that's when they would receive the letter. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, I agree with Lisa. I agree. Why are we sending them a letter that gives them the option to still want to participate? The main thing is that if you're unable to get some of these people, get a hold of some of these people, or if they didn't show up for an orientation for whatever reason, when you click the withdraw button, it just is another thing to let them know that, hey, by the way, either we weren't able to get a hold of you or this program's not available to you. If they don't meet the requirements such as TABE or their eligibility requirements, you don't have to withdraw them, so they would never see this letter. But I would assume that you're going to be contacting them personally anyway to let them know that they are not eligible. So we just wanted to make sure that all those areas were covered on this letter. So
Right.
if you would like to stay with us, we are at 11 o'clock. So we are out of time, but I do know that a couple people indicated that they would like to go over the work-based learning piece. So I want to do that very quickly. If you have additional questions, you can keep on asking them, and we will stay with you. If you have to leave, I totally understand, and thank you for joining us. And right now I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to work-based learning for those that are indicated that this is what they would like to take a look at. Okay, so whenever you log into your ATIM tools, at the top we have our WBL Jobs. You click on that. Whenever you can either add the employer or you can select from the employer list that is available. I'm just going to select, let me go back real quick. If I want to go ahead and take a look at the existing forecasted jobs or actual job openings, I can do that. I can take a look and I can say, oh, okay, well, Komatsu, they don't have the job that I was looking for, so I'm going to go ahead and add a posting. And I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, well, I'm in the central region, and my job needs to be posted from January through February 7th. I have this as my work site, and they didn't have my logistics job posted yet, so I'm going to go ahead. Oh, let me choose one more different one for our example. I'm going to choose welding. Whenever I choose welding, I have my stock title is already pre-populated. If I choose like CNC, you'll see the different stock titles are populated. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with welding. And then I'm going to say this is an internship, and this is for a welding worker. And since this is a job posting, I can post this to the personalized training and employment plan, and I can select to show it for everybody in that target occupation. So if they have identified that they are interested in welding, then I was going to, then I can go ahead and show it to all of them. Or whenever this is released, I can display it to just selected individuals. I can enter my number of job openings available. I can have this as nothing because, for some positions they may not be paid, and that's fine. I want to enter in my job description. I want to enter in how to apply. So hopefully they can apply online, or give them the contact information. The job requirements, you can select what are the job requirements. This will be good to let them know, in advance, what they need to have for that position, and I can add additional requirements if needed. Once I add it in one time, then I can go ahead and select from my list, and it will appear. If I don't want it there, I just simply uncheck that item. And then the core competencies are already pre-populated, so I can go ahead and, those are pre-populated based on the occupational area that I have entered. But then you can add in additional competencies. So once you add in that competency, just like with the additional requirements, it will be listed for you. So you can save that information, and then that job posting will be available through the personalized training and employment plan. So I hope that answers the question for the work-based learning information.
I don't see any other questions from the audience about the work-based learning, Natasha. So.
Okay, so it looks like Mike is working with them. Just type in whatever we need to have it typed in to be, whatever changes we need to make.
Yeah, Natasha, if you could email me that text, I'll flip something back to you here real quick this afternoon or this morning.
Okay. I can do that. Had a couple people typing.
In fact, what if we just drop that last dot point? Would that do it?
I can put the polling question back up.
Jeannie has a good idea also.
I'll clear the answers.
Problem, I don't know if it's a problem or not, but then we have to differentiate the reason the individual is getting the email. And I don't know, that's a system question on how easy or difficult that is to do. Well, I guess we wouldn't have to do that. If we put both scenarios on the same email and say you fall into one of these two scenarios, and then again, if you believe you got this in error, let us know. That would work too.
Are they sent a letter if they're determined ineligible?
The system does not automatically generate anything. The only time we were going to send out this letter is if somebody manually selected the withdrawn button.
And does this letter go by email or by snail mail?
Email. Just so that everybody knows, it's not a requirement in the system to, if a person does not currently, if they don't pass tape or anything like that, it wasn't set up so that they have to be withdrawn. It was simply to get them, off the list. But with the dashboard in place, you can simply click on the link from the dashboard. Just so that everybody's 100% clear that the only time that the withdraw button, the email is sent, is when you select withdraw. That's why it's currently.
Well, it looks like we've got a couple people typing, but we will clear up this issue. I believe that if you have any further input, you can always send an email with the proper wording that you would suggest to info@illinoisworknet.com. But I believe that the way it is written right now, and with Mike working on it, it should be qualified and clarified by later today. So if there are no other questions for Natasha to demonstrate anything, or if there's no other questions, we're going to end our recording today. And we want to thank you for your participation in our webinars. If you have any upcoming questions, please make sure that we are aware of them so that we can demonstrate those for you at our next webinar on January 21st. And our next demonstration webinar will be getting scheduled, and it will be on optimal resume.
Yeah, it's already. Well, we have if you go back to the online guide, we have the registration set up for the upcoming webinars. So
Great.
the next technical assistance webinar will be the 21st.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much for attending, everybody, and have a warmer day.